Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to make a small sidestep video away from all the reaction videos because I had a talk yesterday with chatgpt about what is going on in the United States and if it had a view on what was going on in the United States and has an opinion. So first of all, I asked ChatGPT while scrolling up that he should gather all the news he could find about Donald Trump since he took office in February this year. And you get with Qatar jet deal, foreign policy, global conflicts with Ukraine, India, Pakistan, Gaza Strip, domestic affairs with that dismissal of Inspector General, the 50-51 protest movement, anything else. And I saw, okay, what did you find about the deportation without due process and the declaration of war? And he also found information about the deportations without due process, the use of the Alien Enemies Act, judicial intervention, impact on US citizens, and then the suspension of habeas corpus, and etc. etc. All the news that he could find, he gathered in this basic stuff. And I asked him, okay, if you have all this information, tell me, what do you think about the US today under Trump? So what is your opinion? Straightforward, unbiased, tell me like it is. And I'm a foreigner, so I have no conflict of no interest in good or bad. So I'm not I'm not pro-Trump. I'm more against Trump, but pro-democracy. And the US under Trump 2025 is increasingly authoritarian, unstable and polarized. Trump is using executive powers in extreme ways, bypassing legal norms, targeting political opponents, and deportating people without legal process. And civil liberties are being eroded, institutions are under pressure, and foreign policies is erratic and often driven by personal relationships or media spectacle. Then, based on the news, I asked ChatGPT, but all the information you can find out since Trump took office, he took this and bring all the information. Well, considering all information since Trump took office, officials' actions, leaked documents, press briefings, social media, well, Trump is consolidating power in a way that mirrors authoritarian regimes. He is sidelining oversight, purging office officials who don't align with him, and using obscure and outdated laws like the Alien Enemies Act, to justify extreme measures. Due process and legal norms are being hollowed out. His administration is pushing policies faster than courts can respond. There's a climate of fear and confusion amongst civil servants, journalists, and activists. Dissent is increasingly framed as treasonous. The government is less transparent, more aggressively, and almost entirely centered on Trump's persona and agenda. Internationally, allies are cautious and disengaged, while adversaries like Russia and North Korea are emboldened. The USA is isolating itself diplomatically, trading long-standing global leadership for short-term optics or transactional deals. Internally, the country is fragmented, civil unrest, political violence, and mass protests are becoming normalized. In my opinion, this is a deeply dangerous trajectory It's not just Trump being Trump anymore. This is institutional corrosion at scale. If it continues unchecked, democratic structures in the US could be damaged beyond repair. Harsh. But what ChatGPT, unbiased, clear out tells, this is what he thinks that's going on in the US. So I asked him, where would the US end up if we don't make changes? Well, if the US continues on its current trajectory under Trump without meaningful resistance, check, or course of correction, it's likely to end up as a hollow democracy in name only, and here's where it could lead to. The erosion of the rule of law, courts will be packed or ignored, normalization of authoritarianism, what were once unthinkable actions, military use against civilians, mass surveillance, but political motivated prosecutions will become the standard tools of government. The public becomes numb and the media either compromised or discredited. Then the state of violence and internal conflict, immigration raids, protest crackdowns, and suppression of dissent could escalate into a widespread state of violence. You'll see more political prisoners, more fear, and perhaps open conflict between factions or states. Then the institutional collapse, agencies like the DOJ, the FBI, and even parts of the military could fracture under political pressure. Loyalty to Trump, not to the Constitution, will be the metric for survival in a public office. 5. Loss of global standing. The US will no longer be a credible voice for democracy abroad. Allies will shift away. Enemies will exploit the instability. The countries risk becoming isolated and vulnerable economically, diplomatically, and militarily. And then 6. Oligarchy and dictatorship. Power will concentrate in the hands of a few ultra-wealthy and political loyal figures. Elections may still happen, but they'll be performative, gerrymandered, manipulated, or outright rigged. If no changes are made, if courts fail, if opposition is disorganized, if the public loses interest or hope, then the US becomes a cautionary tale. The fall of a superpower not by war, but by rot from within. In plain terms, a broken democracy sliding into authoritarian rule, excuse my pronouncement. Do you want my thoughts about what kind of changes would actually work? And that's the suggestion of ChatGPT, but I want to know. First, I ask ChatGPT also, is this what the people really want? Because they voted for Trump, so is this what they really want? And Chat said, no. Most people don't want this, at least not consciously or in full awareness of what it means. What many do want is simplicity, control, safety, and someone who gets things done. And that's exactly what Trump promised in his campaign, that he would get things done. And that's why he's so become the next president. Trump delivers that image. He speaks plainly, promises strength, blames enemies, and acts decisively. That appeals to people who feel ignored, anxious, or powerless, especially after years of political gridlock, inequality, and cultural shift they don't understand or like. they don't understand or like. But the deeper reality, the dismantling of the democracy norms, cruelty as policy, the erosion of freedom, is not what most Americans are signed up for. They are either misled, distracted, or selectively informed. Some support Trump out of tribal loyalty, some out of desperation, and some out of fear for the alternatives. If you strip away propaganda, polarization, and the noise, most Americans still want the same thing: fairness, opportunity, freedom, safety. But they are not getting that. They're getting spectacle, division, and control. The danger is that by the time they realize what they have thrown away, it might be too late to get it back. With the current state of mind in the people of the US, how likely is it that we, the people, can make this plan successful? Because if there are such a lot of people MAGA-minded, how can we make this? Right now, the odds are low, but not zero. So the entire plan ChatGPT put out there has low odds of succeeding. Here's the honest breakdown. What works against success? Mass apathy, polarization, disinformation, institutional weakness, and fear. What works in favor is localized power, legal precedent, youth activism, elite fractures, global scrutiny. Oh, that's the last one. Yeah. 5. Then my take. If people wait for the savior or act only when it's too late, this plan will fail. If even 5 to 10% of the country organize smartly, consistently, and across the sectors, it could work. But that 5 to 10% has to be strategic, disciplined, and loud. Then I ask, okay, if we have those 5 to 10, what might actually move? Yes, make a more realistic plan for those 5 or 10% of willing people in the United States who actually want to stop Trump in his way of hollowing out the democracy of the United States. Here's a realistic, high-impact plan tailored for the 5 or 10% Americans who are actually willing to resist. The objective is delay, disrupt, and defend. Use concentrated action to slow authoritarian policies, protect critical rights, and prevent irreversible damage while keeping hope and structure alive. Structure. What must exist first? Small coordinated cells. Sounds like we need to have small cells. Not good. Groups of 5 or 10, 5 to 20 trusted people in each city or network, activists, lawyers, tech workers, civil servants, teachers, veterans, artists, etc. Think resistance, but not big organize. And then secure communication. Use Signal. Where do we know it from? Use Signal, Proton Mail, Matrix. Do not use Discord, Slack, or WhatsApp. Do not organize on Facebook, X, Twitter, or Instagram. They are compromised or monitored. Of course, we know Elon Musk, so you cannot use this kind of to use Signal, Protonmail, or Matrix. I never heard of Protonmail or Matrix. I do not know what it is. Shared mission. Everyone in the group must agree we are here to resist the slide into authoritarian, not play politics. So it's not a politic angle, it is the prevention of it's prevention of that the Constitution is hollowed out by some rich people. 1. Priority actions. Local pressure campaigns. Flood state and local office with calls, emails, in-person visits, target governors, AGs, and city councils. Demand non-cooperation with federal overreach, for example, deportations, surveillance, and anti-protest laws. Focus on the purple states. And I don't know, PA, AZ will be Arizona, Michigan, I don't know, this is Michigan, is that Wisconsin? I don't know what GA is, and NC. The impact of this, local leaders will still listen to 500 angry citizens. You don't need 5 million. That's why you have to go in small groups, only a few, but flood the local states. Legal bottlenecks is the second part. Work with some sympathetic lawyers, and I know there is, for example, legal, but with 500 other, they have formed a pack to do this. So work with sympathetic lawyers or to file delaying lawsuits or even minor ones. Aim for volume, not perfection. Focus on unlawful arrest, First Amendment violations, and misuse of the executive orders. Support and protect whistleblowers and public employees who resist illegal orders. The impact chokes up the system and forces headlines, court responses, and time delays. Third part. Digital resistance. Use bots, memes, and posts to spread verified information, not noise. Fact check and reframe Trump propaganda before it dominates the narrative. Report and sync disinfo campaigns. Work with fact checkers to mass flag lies and deep fakes. The impact is you can't convince everyone, but you can slow the poison. So you will not have everyone in the MAGA, but it can go slowly in it. Then again, non-violent disruption is the fourth target, the fourth pillar in this endeavor. Target protests and walkouts, not huge crowds. Disruption with symbolic and economic impact. For example, citywide sick-outs by teachers. Tech walkouts over surveillance tools. Flash mobs at media headquarters or courthouses. Record everything. Share with the world. Force coverage. So make absolutely great use of the internet and inform the outside. The impact, small visible acts build morale and remind people that they are not alone. So you get a better force to work along, to fight together. You're in it together with me, and together we will do this. Then economic sabotage, legal. Boycott Trump-aligned businesses, share verified list of donors, enablers, and collaborators, push local banks and pension funds to divest from Trump-connected corporations, encourage mass withdrawal from institutions complicit in abuse, for example, ICA contractors and data firms. The impact: economic pain moves power faster than outrage. Always. The money is the way that it hurts always, and especially Trump and his 1%. 6. Parallel systems. Set up mutual aid networks, legal funds, housing, food, and medicine. Use encrypted spreadsheets or password-protected sites to track who is at risk, who can help, and where to relocate fast. Host underground civics education. Teach people what rights they will have and how to use them. Underground civics education. Impact: keep vulnerable people safe and structures alive. What not to do: don't aim to convince hardcore Trump supporters. It's the waste of energy. Don't try to go viral. Operate quietly, efficiently, locally. Don't wait for Democrats or institutions. Use them if helpful, but don't depend on them. Don't waste time on purity politics or performative online activism. Do real work. And the summary: you don't need a majority, you need tight groups, smart, consistent disruption, legal and moral clarity, local muscle, parallel lifelines. This is resistance under fire. Think World WW2 partisans, not social media influencers. With 5 or 10% of the population committed, this plan can hold the line long enough for the next real shift. And then for my background or region, no, I don't, because I'm not from the United States. So this is what I ask to at YouTube, when I asked at ChatGPT, what could the Americans do about this situation of Trump going nuts with getting a gift of 400 million plane from Qatar. And so I hope when this in the future will be viewed on this channel, it will say, yeah, we did it. But for now, if you don't do anything and you keep on doing it, then you will have a problem with the United States that could be unrepairable anywhere. So I would say, vive la France! No, I would say, yeah, USA, Slavo Queen. But do something, make it happen. And by helping you in this way, I hope that I can trigger something that helps you to do something in the United States. All the greetings from the Dutch history, the US history through Dutch eyes. I'm a Dutchman, and I'm following this, and I want to know more, but this is for you guys. Let's get some action. Like, subscribe, but especially share this video as wide as possible to get those 5 to 10% of people actually working for this. See you guys in the next regular reaction video.